1 in 5 incels contemplate suicide every single day. A quarter of them believe violence against people who harm their community is sometimes or often justified. 59 deaths have been linked to incel-related attacks since 2014. This isn't fringe internet culture anymore. This is a mental health crisis, a radicalisation pipeline and a public safety threat, all hiding behind anonymous forums. This video discusses mental health, suicide ideation, misogyny and violence. Viewer discretion is advised. The term involuntary celibate, or incel, was coined in 1997 by a Canadian woman who wanted to create a support space for men and women struggling to find romantic relationships. Just think about it for a minute. The word was created by a woman as a support concept. What it became is something entirely different. Today, incels are a primarily online subculture of men who build their entire identity around their perceived inability to form sexual or romantic relationships. The community operates almost exclusively online, and it provides an outlet for expressing misogynistic hostility, frustration, and blame towards society for what they see as a failure to include them. This video is based on the largest survey of incels ever conducted. 561 self-identified incels from the UK and the USA. It's the first study to use clinical measures to assess neurodiversity in this community. So what we're about to cover isn't speculation, it's data. So, what is the ideology of an incel? Incels believe that genetic factors, evolved mate preferences, and social structures stack the deck against them, specifically barring them from sexual relationships with women. They believe most women are attracted to a small number of men who they refer to as chads, who they think monopolise sexual encounters. Meanwhile, quote-unquote genetically inferior incels are excluded from the gene pool entirely. Women who date these so-called chads are referred to as stacies. Average-looking people are referred to as betas or normies. And the bottom of this hierarchy, incels. Men who believe they are physically incapable of finding a partner. Now let's talk about red pill versus black pill. Red pill is taken from the Matrix, and the idea that society has been blinded by feminism and that men need to wake up to the reality that women hold power in Western society at men's expense. The red pill is shared by the wider manosphere, a loose collection of online communities focused on men's issues, and parts of the far right. Incels expand on this with the black pill, the belief that their situation is hopeless and cannot improve, that no amount of self-improvement, wealth or effort will change their dating aspects. Approximately 95% of incels report subscribing to the black pill worldview. Some researchers argue that adopting the black pill can push individuals towards violent misogynistic views, though the relationships between extreme attitudes and actual violence is complex and multifactored. Now let's move on to the 80-20 myth, and to be honest with you, I didn't even know this was a thing before I started researching this video. So, incels often claim that 80% of women have sexual access to the top 20% of men, leaving the bottom 80% of men with just 20% of the women. This isn't based on data, it's more of a belief system that reinforces their sense of exclusion. So, where did this ideology come from? We can look back and it sort of appears at the men's rights movement of the late 20th century, with the core belief that feminism has placed men in a state of crisis. The first incel subreddit was All Forever Alone, and it was created in 2010. It's still active now, it is still up. It has around, I think, 35,000 viewers weekly and 1,500 contributors. Looking through it, it's one of the more tame ones with people posting memes and stories about being alone. On the other hand, there was art incels in the later half of 2010s until it was banned in 2017. The ban took place because it promoted violence and physical harm against individuals and groups, it promoted sexual assault, glorified mass killers, and it had severe misogyny throughout the subreddit. Before it was banned, art incels had 40,000 users. Hopefully this is likely to include lurkers, researchers and journalists. After the ban, the movement spread to other subreddits and to standalone forums like incels.is, which currently has over 20,000 registered users. The movement counts its followers in the tens of thousands, but the reach is likely far wider when you account for lurkers and cross-platform sharing. The data proves the warning signs are always there. We just choose to look away. This is part 1 of a new series exposing the dark reality of online subcultures and the violent acts hiding behind anonymous forums. Hit subscribe so you don't miss part 2. Is this a mental health crisis or a security threat? Let me know below.